it felt like a failure because once you lose control, you get angry, you yell, then it's a cycle. The next step is you start feeling so guilty, and that makes you feel worse about yourself. I've come to understand that anger is a messenger. And also, anger keeps us safe. Because, for example, if someone hurt us badly, we hold anger against that person, we are resentful. I never spoke up to keep the peace. But inside, I was suppressing my desires, which were slowly making me angry. Somewhere it is in the society, it's okay for men to show anger, especially in workplace, but somewhere it's not okay for women to show it. They just suppress it. And when we suppress anger, it just affects our health, our organs. It's almost like someone else took over our mind and our body, and you lose complete control.
Life flows like an endless ocean of stories. We often miss these precious tales as we rush through our days, too consumed by daily struggles to notice the poetry swirling around us. Yet within these stories lie the keys to our past, sparks for our creativity, and fresh winds to fill our sails. I am Abhra, a writer based in Melbourne, in quest of those stories with diverse voices that tell them from every corner of the world. Welcome to Stories and Stanza. Hi Anu, welcome to Stories and Stanza. How are you doing today?
Hi, Abhra. Yes, I'm doing fine. And thank you so much for having me here.
I'm looking forward to hearing from you in this episode. So, for our listeners, could you briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Anumeha Gupta. I'm located in California, Bay Area. And what I do is I help mothers overcome anger and release it from their cells so that they can free up that energy and bring their gifts to the world. We all need mothers to be in their power because the mother sets the energy of the home. And that's what I help them with.
That is such an amazing job. In today's world, it can get very difficult for mothers to have that perfect balance and also take care of their responsibilities, which is changing every day and becoming more and more challenging. So I believe you are doing a
Exactly.
fantastic thing by this service to the society. For our audience, could you tell us a little bit about, can you summarize a little bit about what we are going to explore today? So, throughout this conversation.
Okay. I am guessing that the listeners would be curious to know, first of all, how I came about doing this work, right? Because we
Yes.
don't hear of enough people doing this work. How I started doing it. Also, you might be curious, what is my credibility, maybe, to do this work? And maybe they would like to hear um, some tools that they could use in their own journey. Maybe that would be helpful. And if I have time, I can share a few case studies.
That will be amazing. This is a
Mhm.
particular segment in Stories and Stanza called Fail With Me. I have
Yeah.
chosen this title because there was a phase in my life where I thought I was failing at everything,
Hmm.
and I was finding it very difficult to do my day to day things, managing family and going to work and overall wellness side of things. And then when I started looking for anything related to motivation or inspiration, what I found is that a lot of speakers, writers, they say that, oh, you're doing this wrong, you are failing at this, and you have to do this to
Hmm.
get it right. I felt that that was very preachy. That was very critiquing, too much
Okay.
advice. I couldn't connect with that narration. Then I thought that if I open up about my story, if I write a memoir someday, I'll call it Fail With Me. That's how that title stuck with me. I didn't get a chance to write a lot about it. I started writing, but I didn't get time to expand on it. So when I started this podcast, I created this section called Fail With Me to open up about failures and
Mm,
try to unpack the stigma of failure, unlearn the what we think as failure and see what message is hidden underneath. And then
mm,
we build on top of that. So that was the idea of Fail With Me. And when I brought this into the podcast, a lot of people came in and they enriched the series to what it is today. And so the first thing I ask my guests is that how does the idea Fail With Me sit with you? If you have a personal story to share in that space, that would be amazing.
yeah, absolutely. I think our failures teach us so much, and my journey into working with my anger was also initiated because of my struggle with anger, my own failure to manage my emotions. I would call that a big failure, where there is a voice telling you, don't react, it's okay, count till 10, take deep breaths, and you just ignore everything. And you still maybe pick up some toy or something and you throw it on the wall because you know you cannot calm down without throwing something. That was where I was. Luckily, I didn't throw at people. I knew where to throw, I knew what to throw. But I understood that for some reason I just lost all control. And it felt like a failure because once you lose control, you get angry, you yell, then it's a cycle. The next step is you start feeling so guilty, and that makes you feel worse about yourself. And when you're feeling so guilty and bad, it starts somewhere increasing that anger that you feel with yourself. And next time you react even more quickly because you're already in a bad space or a negative space. So it's a vicious cycle.
Very well said that it is a vicious cycle. And I have no shame in admitting that I have been troubled by anger for a very long time in my life.
Mm,
And I was told by elders in the family that anger is something physiological, anger is something to do with the body, and it is inescapable. And that's
mm,
how I think I harnessed that anger for a very long time. And I was sometimes confused about when I'm trying to achieve something and I'm not getting it. I thought I could channel my anger to work harder and do such things.
mm, mm,
So that was also counterproductive in a way, I would say. So before I started this podcast, I had a life changing experience through a somatic workshop, and which
mm,
made me look back into my life and understand what was making me angry and how to
mm.
come out of it. So which is why I think I am doing this podcast and I'm trying to tell people that it is absolutely possible to win over our emotions and we step into our wellness. Okay, so it's a little bit of context and personal anecdote from my side. And I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on what is anger?
I've come to understand that anger is a messenger. And also, anger keeps us safe because, for example, if someone hurt us badly, we hold anger against that person. We are resentful. We carry that resentment so that we remember not to connect with that person again and not give him a chance again to hurt us. So, anger keeps us safe. And also, when we get angry, it's a messenger. If we look under that anger, we will find that actually other emotions are there. For example, you might have been humiliated or you are having some fear. I remember I was so angry with my children when they watched too much screen because I always had this fear that, oh my gosh, excess screen is going to just ruin their life and it's just the end of the world. So it could be fear, it can be sadness, hurt, embarrassment, rejection, humiliation. There are other feelings actually underneath the anger. And I have found that now when we are angry, we can actually sit and go deeper and understand, why are we angry? What is really going on? I remember for a long time, I never spoke up for what I wanted. I was a people pleaser. So if people said, oh, this is good, let's do this, I just went along. I never spoke up to keep the peace. But inside, I was suppressing my desires, which were slowly making me angry. So after a few months, there would be days when I would explode like a volcano and then feel even worse because I love peace so much. And this was not helping.
I relate to what you said very well. That
Mhm.
for this happened to me more so in professional or social space, I think, than so much within family or in my personal realm. That I felt that I had to be accepted, the people pleasing thing that you are
Right.
talking about. And I didn't have a strong boundary management. So,
Hmm.
which is what kind of negatively affected me and created some of the foundations of my anger. So, I can very well relate to what you're saying. And I see this in today's world with now when I used to struggle as opposed to how I look at things now, that I can see that it is such a big difference. I feel that for me, my self-worth was attached to how people would accept me. But
Hmm.
as I looked into my anger and now de-associate the idea of self-worth and the emotions and the
Hmm.
anger, then I feel that there is no overlap actually. And we can perfectly keep those three in three different streams, and they should not trigger something as anger. So I can very well relate to what you are saying. And you mentioned that you work with mothers, women to help them release their anger.
Right.
So can you, and you mentioned that you could talk about some case studies as well. Can you
Yeah.
break it down as to why we are getting angry? You gave an answer that it is a messenger. But if
Yeah.
we want to understand our anger, where do we look at?
Ah, okay. So there are many reasons we get angry. And I have a checklist actually, which helps people go deeper and understand the root of their anger. But to make it simple, I put it as body triggers and then mind triggers and also triggers that are from our past. So, body trigger, I'll give you an example. And this is because, okay, let me also add my credibility. Like, why, who am I to talk about this?
Sure.
And my credibility comes from my studies in Ayurveda. I'm a certified Ayurvedic wellness counselor. I'm also a yoga teacher and I'm a Theta healer. And all these modalities have really helped me understand my anger and pacify the root of my anger, because of which I am very happy to say that now I'm much, much calmer and I can help other people also very effectively. So, coming back to body level triggers, many of you might not know that if you are eating too much garlic and onion, they have a quality called rajasic quality. And rajas means it's the quality of agitation and aggression. So if you are someone who eats a lot of onions and garlic, naturally it can make you more reactive. The other trigger can be heat. There is research to prove that there's more road rage during summers than in winters. These are some body level triggers. And then at the mind level, those are the feelings I already spoke about, when we have fear, when sadness, hurt, humiliation, all those are at the mind level. Then, if we look at the past, now these go very deep. For example, as a child, if we had an incident where we had some trauma, and now we form a belief that my voice does not matter. Suppose, let's say an example. Suppose as a child you tried to say your opinion and the elders said, you keep quiet, you're a child. Let the adults talk. Okay. And this child, he starts thinking, oh, my opinion does not matter. And now this child grew up and he's in a situation where he's trying to give his opinion, maybe at work, and the opinion is ignored. The person gets absolutely triggered and gets really angry because that past trauma has gotten triggered. So these are even deeper issues which we can solve. And once you solve them, then you just stop feeling angry and getting triggered. And it doesn't come back. So that is one thing. And the reason could also go back lifetimes. Like not just this lifetime, but it could be ancestral trauma. And that's an example I want to give. This is an example of ancestral trauma. Not necessarily anger, but many times you can have anger also come down from your lineage. So there's this client of mine who was very scared to leave home because every time she left home, she would first look at which are the hospitals near her destination. And then she used to go because her body was very delicate. Whenever she was in an unpredictable place, new place, her body used to uh, get into a panic attack. She would have a panic attack and then she would need to do bed rest for several days to recover. So when she came to me, we tried to understand why is this happening? Because she's otherwise healthy person and she eats well. Like why is the body reacting so badly just because she's in a new place? Yeah. And as we questioned, we found out that her ancestors were in the World War II. And they were in a situation which was so unsafe. They had these bombs falling around them. They're running for their life. So their body had this belief that I'm not safe. And the belief came to her through her DNA. And it was just playing out. Every time the body thought I'm not safe, it used to have a huge panic attack. Once we worked with that belief and we said, you are safe with Theta healing, we changed it. You are safe. She doesn't have them anymore.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is amazing. Deep insight into the roots of anger. You mentioned something called the triggers of anger. So, is it possible to identify those triggers and stop them from leading to an anger?
Yes, you can. Maybe not the ones with your past, like that you need some support, but the ones at the body level are pretty easy. If you go through the checklist, uncomfortable clothes, if you wear a scratchy tag or clothes that don't feel good on your skin, you might be looking very pretty, but actually the cloth is not, it's not soft, it's scratching your skin. That is easy to identify. And even the mind level, it is easy to identify. But when it comes to the past trauma, that you would need some support.
That is very interesting. I was not aware of that. Maybe we are carrying roots within us which we are not aware of, that is
Yeah.
leading to some scenarios. And you mentioned that you work with women a lot. Is it
Mhm.
fair to ask that can do men and women process anger differently or get angry differently?
I was reading this report, research report, and it said that today there's a research that more women are getting angry than men. At the same time, more women are suppress their anger, whereas men are able to show it. Somewhere it is in the society, it's okay for men to show anger, especially in workplace. but somewhere it's not okay for women to show it. They just suppress it. And when we suppress anger, it just affects our health, our organs, and it can affect the liver. So, definitely not a good idea.
Right. And you mentioned that you have a personal story to share as to
Mhm.
how you got started in this journey and why
Mm.
you decided to start working with others. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure, I can talk about that. Mm. So, I'm a mother, I have two children, and I found that I was not able to connect with my children that well because of my anger. It used to come in the way. And even if I made progress with the connection, if I lose my cool, I could see my children getting scared of me. And enough people told me that it's very important. The child should be able to communicate with the parent, feel free to talk, and feel like it's a safe space. And I was fearful that I might not be able to create that. So I think that has been my biggest motivation to work on my anger. Also, I feel like I have always just wanted to be a better person. That has always been my goal. Every day I wake up and I want to just be a better person. I think this motivated me. And really, when we get angry and we lose control, it doesn't feel good at all. It's almost like someone else took over our mind and our body, and you lose complete control. And that feels like, how can I not have control, right?
Yes, absolutely. You mentioned the checklist. Could you explain what the checklist is and how can someone use it?
Yeah, sure. So, this is something I have created from my own experience because I was so dedicated to find out why I was getting angry. I knew if I don't find the why, I cannot heal it from the source. So, using Ayurveda, Theta healing, and my own experiences, I've created the checklist. And how you use it is when you do get mad and you lose your control, it's okay. You're not a bad person, but it's something is there for it to be healed. Something is coming up for you to acknowledge and to heal it. And how you do that is you go through the checklist and okay, body level. Was it too hot? Have I eaten too many onions? Or have I eaten outside food too much? Even that can aggravate our anger. You go through the checklist one by one, and then you can look at the emotions also and see maybe you were angry with yourself, and that's why you lost your temper on someone else. So, what's going on when you identify that? Then you shortlist it and then you work on releasing that. If you're feeling guilty, you work on releasing the guilt. As a mother, I'll tell you, guilt is so heavy. Almost all mothers carry guilt for some reason or the other. And that guilt feels so heavy. It's almost like this weight on our shoulders. And there's something I tell myself every time now that I did my best today and I will do better tomorrow. And I just leave it at that. So that's why the checklist is there.
Thank you. And you mentioned something very interesting in your introduction is that you help women understand why they are angry with patriarchy and why
Hmm.
they fail to connect with their mothers. Do you want to
Hmm.
talk about
Oh,
that?
oh, wow. Yeah, that's a really deep one. Thanks for reminding me. You know what? This is my learnings with the former Vedic monk. She's Mother Maya. She's one of my esteemed gurus. And what she says is that many years ago, when patriarchy came to power, women were subjugated and there was so much trauma among women. They didn't have a voice, right? So what happened is these women started holding the trauma in their wombs and they kept quiet. They repressed their anger and it was in the womb and then it kept getting transferred to children. So that anger against patriarchy kept getting transferred to the child. So in my own situation, I found I had anger against men, including my child. One of my children is a boy. And I did notice I was more angry with him than I was with my daughter. So that anger was not mine at all. And very interesting, when I started my Ayurveda practice, the clients that I got, they were also angry with the men and patriarchy. And I saw it as a pattern. I'm like, looks like I'm not the only one. And then with the help of Mother Maya's work, I found out that this trauma from our past generations, it has gotten transferred to women, because of which today so many women are angry with patriarchy, even if they don't have any direct experience or reasons to be angry. And they get disconnected with the men in their lives.
Thank you for
Yeah.
explaining that.
So that's one part, but bro,
Yeah.
the other part you said is where women are not connecting with their mothers, right? So what happened is when women carry the trauma in their womb, they get disconnected from mother consciousness. There is a mother consciousness where we feel all these feelings of motherly love and connection. But when we carry trauma, there's a disconnect. And one of the symptoms of that is instead of women collaborating with each other, they start competing with each other. That is one thing. The other thing is it's hard for the mother to connect with her children because of that trauma. It comes in the way. So many of my clients, they struggle because they feel that they could have been loved in a better way. They are yearning for that mother's love. And it's hard, but when they understand that the mother is also going through trauma, then things start shifting.
Thank you. I think this idea that you shared would be an eye opener for anyone. It is very unique and makes absolute sense. You mentioned theta healing. Can you explain how it relates to anger management?
Okay, so Theta healing is a very powerful healing modality. It is started by Vienna Steibel from US. And what it does is it helps us access the subconscious mind because our subconscious mind is actually creating our life. This is so beautiful, Abhra. And just with Theta healing, my clients are seeing unbelievable results just with Theta healing.
Can you talk about some scenarios without, of course, getting into personal details? Can you talk about the
Okay,
concept in general?
yeah, I can. So what happens is first let's just understand the conscious and the subconscious mind. Conscious mind is right now you and me are talking, right? And we are thinking, we decided we want to do the podcast, we're doing that. So consciously we are making decisions. Subconscious mind is which is subconsciously taking care of our body. We don't decide when to breathe, how to digest. We don't decide. Everything's happening on its own. Even when you learn driving, after a certain point of time, we just know how to drive. So that has gone into the subconscious mind. Okay. Similarly, we carry a lot of beliefs in our subconscious mind. And these beliefs create our world. I'll give you an example. A subconscious mind actually creates more than 90% of our reality. Let's give an example. Consciously, someone says, I need to wake up early tomorrow. I will wake up at 5 a.m. He sets an alarm. He's not able to wake up. He does it again and again every day, but he's not able to wake up. Because somewhere the subconscious mind believes that he should not be waking up at 5 a.m. Another example, someone wants to make money and he wants a new job. He's trying to get a job, but every time the job is almost finalized, it falls through. And he's in this regular cycle. He can't find a job because somewhere in the subconscious mind, he has a belief that says, maybe it says, I am poor, because some ancestor of his believed that he was poor, and it was such a strong belief, it has come down through ancestry into this person. Or it could be his own past lifetime when he was poor, and that belief is in his subconscious mind. So I cannot tell you how many women I get who have a very deep belief that life is a misery. And they are just having that, like they are creating misery all around them. They come with no hope. I had one lady come to me. She said, nobody likes me. Nobody even talks to me. I feel so lonely, isolated. And her belief turned out to be, I am invisible. And she was invisible. So in one session, we changed the belief. Okay? We release the belief, because that's how Theta healing works. We go into Theta brainwave state using a meditation, and we change the belief. And after 2 weeks, when she came back for her next session, she said she went for 3 parties. It was a festival, so she went for 3 parties, and she could not believe how warmly she was welcomed, how nicely people wanted to talk and listen to her, and how cared for she felt.
That is so beautiful and heartwarming. Can I ask that when you work with people, is that always like in person or do you do that virtually as well?
I do both.
No,
It works really well,
I just wanted to
virtually
say
also.
that anyone listening to this conversation, and if they want to work with you, how can they get in touch? Of course, we'll put the details in episode description, your checklist and your contact details. But could you just briefly tell the listeners if they want to work with you, how can they find you?
Yeah, sure. I have a website, ayuwise.com. It's AYUWISE.com. So if you just go to the website, you can click a link to book a 15-minute complimentary call with me. And in the call, I'll understand what is going on, what are your goals, and whether I can help you or maybe refer you to someone else. And that's it. So we start with that call, and then we take it forward from there.
Fantastic. I think we covered a lot of discussion about understanding anger. We talked about the checklist that you prepared, which we will be linking. And for someone who is struggling with anger, what should be their first line of defense? What should they look at doing differently to come out of that phase? You mentioned that you have a short meditation practice that you wanted to share with our listeners. So, is that something that would be appropriate for this?
Yeah, if you like, I can do the meditation right now if you like, and you
Sure.
can go through with it,
Yep.
and whoever is listening can do it. Yeah, it's a really good meditation, and it's mainly to release resentment, because resentment is a poison we carry in our body. Better to release it. Okay. So, how about you just sit straight
Yep.
and you can close your eyes.
Okay.
Okay. And think of someone you are angry with. Let that person come up on its own. And as you think of that person and how you feel towards him or her, notice if there's any shift in your body.
Think there is, yes.
Are you holding it somewhere? You feel that somewhere?
Yeah, I think so. I feel something to do with my arms, maybe. That
Mhm.
some uneasy feeling. Yeah.
Excellent. Give that uneasy feeling a color and trust the color that comes up for you. Okay?
Yep.
Now ask yourself, am I safe?
Yes,
And
I am
wait for
safe.
the answer. Very nice. Now ask yourself, how is holding this anger against that person serving you?
Is not helpful. How do I explain? It's of no use to me. But I think deep down there is a resentment.
Mhm. So ask yourself, am I ready to release this anger? Yes?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Now imagine that color to drain out from your body through your feet and go down into the earth and see that color becoming dirt. And nod your head when you are done. Okay? Now imagine the love of Mother Earth. She loves us unconditionally. We are all her children. And imagine her love and give the love a color and see that color come in from the earth into your feet. And through your feet, fill your whole body up with that unconditional love.
Yes. I can feel that.
You can feel that?
Yes.
Beautiful. And then ask Mother Earth to bless that person as well, because we all just mainly need love more than anything. If we all can have a little more love, the world will be so much more beautiful. So you ask Mother Earth to send love to that person.
I have.
Then, when you're ready, you can thank her for always being there for you. Feel her embrace as if she's hugging you like you're a child.
Yes.
Know that you're always supported, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
That was beautiful. It's
Beautiful?
beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
I think if I can name the colors when I
Yeah.
started talking about it, I think it was something bright and warm color, orangish yellow or
Mhm.
orangish red kind of a color. And then
For what? For the
for the
resentment or?
for the
Okay.
resentment, yeah. And I
Mm-hmm.
think towards the end, it that slowly shifted out and towards it shifted towards a green, soothing green.
Okay, nice. Now think of that person
Yeah,
with your eyes closed and tell me, do you feel it in your body?
I feel much relaxed.
Right?
Yeah, I think I'll have to
Yeah.
do it a couple of more times, but I can
To release it.
feel that difference.
Yeah. So that's really good that you're observing it, you can feel it. Sometimes people are not able to release it. How much ever they do this meditation, they cannot release it because that anger is serving them in some way. Either it is keeping them safe or it is motivating them to show up and show that person, I am going to be successful because you said I cannot be successful. I am going to show you. So they want that anger to feed their motivation to be successful. So they're not ready to release the anger, they're using it.
Understood.
So
Yes.
that's the deep work we do because anger is still affecting your body. Like you saw it, it's in your arms. So it is affecting your body. So better to release it and still know how to be motivated.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I'm sure if someone following the episode, they also uh, participated in this. And if not, they can do it at a later stage. I'll
Yeah,
I'll create a separate video just for this if anyone wants to use that as a practice.
yeah, that's a good idea actually.
I think I have covered most of the areas that I had
Mhm.
in mind of asking you. Is there anything else you would like to share with the audience?
I would just say thank you for listening. Just the fact that you have listened means that you really love your family and you really want to change and improve. And that's enough. Once you have that intention, the universe will bring you the resources and the people and the support that you need. So, kudos to you for that.
Thank you once again for taking the time to talk to Stories and Stanza today.
Sure, it was my pleasure and my honor. Thank you, Abhra.
Thank you.